Hey guys, alright, so this lecture is going to be about some lab material. So this is information that you're going to need to know for the lab portion of your exams. And so as usual, we do physiology, and that's lecture material, and then we have you identify structures, see pictures, and type in, identify the structure. And so you're going to need to identify these structures of the lymphatic and immune system. We don't have a whole lot of models that show the lymphatics. We have a few. I'm going to show you that, but we do have some images. So be prepared to see an image, maybe this one or something very similar that I maybe pulled from the internet. So what you need to know for the lymphatic system is you need to know how we name the lymphatic vessels and how we name the the lymph nodes. And the lymph nodes are named based on the region that they're found. And so you need to be able to identify the cervical nodes, which are the ones in the neck, the axillary nodes, the ones in the armpit, and the inguinal nodes, the ones that are around the groin. So I'm going to show you a picture on the models of how to find those, but again, be able to find those on a diagram as well. The lines between the nodes are the lymph vessels, the lymphatic vessels. And so I'll just say name this tube, and you'll just say lymphatic vessel. If I ask you, I may say name this region, so just, I want you to go back if you've forgotten your region names, because we're doing blood vessels and lymphatic vessels, and a lot of these use region names. I want you to get in the habit of going back and remembering all your region names. So if I asked you to name maybe a region here, say it's an antebrachial lymphatic vessel or a brachial lymphatic vessel. I apologize. So think back to what your region names are and review that. I'm not going to ask you to identify this or the thoracic duct. Just right now for the lab test, just lymph nodes, and be able to recognize, I'm so sorry, lymphatic vessels. Hang on just a second. My apologies. So the few models that we have, some are green, some are pink, so I want to show you both so you're not thrown off on the exam. These little dots, these are the lymph nodes, and then the lines, the green lines and the pink lines are the lymph vessels. Okay, so obviously these are inguinal lymph nodes on both of these models, and lymph vessels. We have one model that you can see the cervical lymph nodes and lymph vessels. I know it's in the neck because this is the thyroid gland, this is the trachea, and this is the larynx, so that lets me know I'm in the neck. And here I am under the arm, and so these would be axillary lymph nodes and lymph glands, or lymph nodes and lymph vessels. So again, so just be prepared to identify these on the lab test. The other thing you need to know are your immune organs. We've talked about the immune organs, so I just want to make sure you know how to find them, what they actually look like in the body. And so we're going to point out the tonsils. You've already done the lymph nodes and the lymph vessels, okay? We're going to show you the thymus. We've done these, the lymph nodes. We've done that. I'm going to show you the spleen. We don't really have a picture of Peyer's patches, so I'm not expecting you to identify that on a model. You can identify the appendix, and again, you can identify the lymph nodes and lymph vessels because they're part of the immune system. And I'm not going to have a picture of bone marrow, so you don't have to worry about identifying bone marrow either. But if I showed you a bone, if perhaps I pulled one out for a bonus and you saw a bone that was broken, you saw the gooey stuff inside of it, I bet you could come up with bone marrow, right? Probably so. I hope so. All right, so this is a cross-section, sagittal cut of the head. And so your tonsils, you have tonsils here, here, and here. So these are your pharyngeal tonsils. Pharyngeal tonsils, also known as your adenoids. They're kind of back up there at the top of your oral pharynx, kind of the base of your nasopharynx. These are your, lingual tonsils here. And these are your palatine tonsils. So these are the palatine tonsils, and these are the lingual tonsils. The palatine tonsils, that's when you look in someone's throat, the back of their throat, and if they're looking to see if your tonsils are swollen. And these are the ones that they're going to take out most often. They can also take out the pharyngeals. If you've had your adenoids taken out, they've taken out your pharyngeal tonsils. So there's 3 types of tonsils, so just be able to recognize those 3 types: pharyngeal, palatine, and lingual. It's a G. All right. Another organ of immunity is the thymus, and hopefully if you've watched your immune videos on the lecture videos, you remember what the palatine or what the tonsils do. Remember they're sticky mucus places to catch things before they go into your system, try to catch any bad bacteria or whatever before it gets into your system. The thymus is a little different. It's not that sticky stuff. Do you remember what the thymus does? Have you watched those videos yet? This plays a role in programming those T cells. So this is the thymus. So it plays a role in immunity. And it's going to be found an organ just right over the heart. And you're going to see this in children and adolescents. And it's going to shrink away to just about nothing in the adult. So this particular model is kind of like a mini-me. It's a 3/4 model. It's supposed to be like a young person. So it has the thymus. Another organ of immunity, this is the spleen. And so the spleen is going to be, if you look deep into the abdominal cavity, take away the small and large intestine and the liver and the stomach, look toward the back side, the posterior surface of the abdominal cavity, you have this comma-shaped organ. And it's on this model, it's purple. And that would be the spleen. And on this model, it's a gray-looking structure. If you've learned to recognize your pancreas, you'll see the pancreas usually kind of fits right into that comma-shaped cutout of the spleen. So if you recognize a pancreas, hopefully that'll help you identify the spleen. And you should have learned this in 201 as well. This should be not too hard. A lot of review for you, I hope. And then the last one is the appendix. So this is the intestines, right? You have the gray is the large intestine, and this big cream stuff, that's the small intestine. And the appendix is going to be a part of the large intestine. And if you think back to what you learned about some basic anatomy, the digested particles travel through the appendix, through the large intestine this way. So this is the ascending colon, the transverse colon, the descending colon, and then out the rectum and through the anus. So the appendix is kind of on that first part of the large intestine. So be able to recognize the appendix as well. All right, and that's it. So that's pretty simple. So just kind of make a list of those lymphatic and immune organs and be prepared to identify them on a lab test, either using the models or possibly a diagram, maybe a picture from your textbook, something like that. All right, that's it. That was short. Thank you.